Yeah.
No, that's what I said to her. The Z06 is going to be so good. Oh my God, James.
What?
The windows are smashed. I think somebody tried to break into the car.
What did he take?
No, and he did. Glass is smashed. Oh, he left a note. Sorry, bro. I thought I was stealing a manual. Enjoy it, I guess.
Ah, that's fair.
You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
This is the C8 Corvette.
And this is an exciting day, not just because we're driving the new 2020 Corvette, but also we've teamed up with Omaze to give away one and $20,000. We'll talk about it more at the end, but all you need to know right now is for your chance to win, go to omaze.com/throttlehouse.
The new C8 Corvette. A Corvette in our eyes has always been a supercar killer, like a GTR, small price, big performance. But now, to the untrained eye, with its mid-engine layout and exotic styling, it's every bit a supercar at a literal fraction of the price. But here's the thing. Initial opinions have come back a bit of a mixed bag. Some have said it's not quite there yet. Some have said it's brilliant. And since James and I spend a lot of time at the racetrack and like to pick apart vehicle dynamics, let's just say we will be paying close attention to how the C8 goes around a corner.
But from the rear haunch to the side vents to the razor-sharp nose, its looks certainly exude performance. And this particular one is a fully optioned out 3LT with the Z51 performance package, magnetic dampers, and some other goodies. And even in this decked out form, it's still well under $100,000 US, and a little over that number in Canadian. And a massive thanks to Morgan from Karston for lending us his baby this day. We'll link his channel in the description where you can find tons of awesome C8 content. And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe and hit the bell.
The weird part about this is that from where I'm sitting, this feels all supercar. The steering wheel, the driving position, the fact that the engine is behind me, but then it only revs to 6 and a bit thousand RPM and it's got a big push rod V8 sound. It almost doesn't fit with the car. I find myself tapping off the limiter because you don't have much headroom in each gear. Not that it needs it because it's got so much V8 grunt, but it has an exotic vibe about it that the engine doesn't really match with. It's strange to me. One thing I do appreciate about the engine though, when you want it, it's there for you. It's just really, really there for you. Throttle response is great, and there's just displacement, so you just go when you want to.
495 horsepower at my fingertips. Because we got the Z51 package, otherwise it's 490. And a roaring V8. Now this is the Targa top, and you can get it in the convertible as well. I struggle with the Targa stuff, even with 911s, and the Miata as well, with the RF, because as good as it looks, there's a lot of wind noise involved. You've still got the blind spots, you've still got the added weight. I feel like I'd rather drive this with the roof on it, or I'd get the full convertible. But that's just me.
The steering is kind of a weird thing for me. At first I thought it was really good, and GM is very good at steering. I love the Camaro steering. This feels fantastic just off center, like it has a lot of positive caster, but it doesn't really talk to me quite as much as I was hoping that it was going to. I'm getting a nice feel of the resistance of the tire, but no feedback.
Fortunately, like the Z01, what it lacks in steering, it makes up for with an incredible chassis. I can feel everything in my bum.
One of the first things I've noticed about this car is that even though I'm in track mode right now, the ride is incredible. It's like a luxury car. And that's helped because obviously it has those magnetic dampers, which are really well designed. but it also has a really stiff chassis, so the dampers can do their job. But that stiff chassis comes with a downside. Since there's no roof and the sills are really low, so it's easy to get in and out, they had to find the torsional rigidity somewhere. So what they did was they designed this transmission tunnel, which they call the backbone, to be incredibly strong. The problem with that, though, is that if you were to penetrate it with something like a gear lever, it would lose its torsional rigidity. So you're stuck with a car that has to have a DCT in order to stay as stiff as it is. So GM, you did a great job. I really like it, but maybe for the next one, please find a way to do a manual?
And so perhaps the fact that it shifts so often isn't such a terrible thing, because at least it gives you something to do before you hit the speed limit. That said, I still think a manual gearbox would really complement this, at least in Stingray form.
That transmission is really fast. It's not Porsche fast, but it's really fast. And thankfully it doesn't have like a fart on the upshift like you get in an Alpha 4C or like something Volkswagen with DSG. It has a clap on the upshift. Which is great.
Thomas wasn't lying about the ride. It's almost too good. It doesn't go to a crazy enough level in track mode. Don't get me wrong, if it can be wonderful in touring, amazing. I love when cars have two personalities, and I even have cool Z mode or Z mode that allows me to have my individual setting, and I click that and it lights up in red. So it's even aluminium or magnesium on the wheel, so it has some sense of occasion about it. But even if you have everything set in the harshest of all settings, it's still a bit subdued. It's a bit like the Audi R8 in that sense, except with no screaming V10 behind you. However, we found that the C7 couldn't handle Z06 levels of power. The car became unusable. So maybe this is just setting up for the most incredible Z06 the world has ever seen.
So, it's clear that we were impressed with the C8, but it wasn't long before we noticed something.
Such power, such flatness, such understeer.
Catastrophic understeer. A 90-degree corner, not even a hairpin.
Brilliant car, exciting proposition, flawed. I haven't felt understeer like that since the Audi RS3. Which is funny because both this and that sound great.
Something's not dialed in there. Interestingly, if you're a nerd like me, Randy Popst wrote a great article for Motor Trend discussing how the rear differential needs to be calibrated a little bit differently to prevent understeer like that from happening. So look that up if you want more information on that, but I think I agree that something needs to be altered. I'll have to explore it more on the track.
I'm getting so much understeer that the stability control feels like it's fighting me even with the traction control mode off. It's not as satisfying as I thought it would be to chuck this into a corner. Coming out of it and applying the power is brilliant, but then I guess it's got to stay American in some form. So maybe it's just a bit too comfortable and lazy in a corner. In fact, I don't have the confidence going into a corner in this that I do in a Camaro ZL1, for example, which is the same price. In fact, it's less than this. Doesn't look like this though.
What'd you think?
There is so much performance here. I
Yes.
thought it was going to be rawer. Do you know what I mean?
No, roarer?
No, not rawer. Like rawer.
Oh, like more raw.
More raw.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
I know,
sorry.
I agree. Listen, okay, so here's the thing. I felt like I couldn't get any more out of it.
No, it needs to see the track. It needs to see
Yeah,
the
it
track.
absolutely does.
Now, how does it look? Because it's currently dressed in ceramic matrix grey.
Ooh.
Right, even though
Yes.
it's white.
Well, it's blue.
It's not blue. What do you mean it's blue? It's
No, it's
white.
blue.
Okay, maybe it's reflecting the blue sky on the
No,
white.
it's a light, look at it, it's light blue.
Okay,
In
apparently,
the editing suite, we can change this any color we want.
okay, if he doesn't do that,
Thomas needs help.
Okay.
In the flesh, though, as a sub $100,000 car, this has a road presence like nothing I've ever seen.
Yes, because it is mid-engine. It just inherently has to look like this.
It looks great.
Right? Like all the engineering and the styling that went into this section here to route the air in the correct channels. Obviously, we've got the massive intake on the side.
I will say, though, when the pictures came out and the rear end looked terrible, it doesn't look good in the flesh.
What? No, I don't.
There's too much going on. It's
I
too...
disagree. I think
Really?
the rear end looks fantastic. I like the taillights. I like the square exhaust tips.
Wrong.
It's very cool. It's
Wrong.
the front end that I don't like.
How can you have an issue with the front end? It looks exactly like a Corvette here.
Maybe that's why I don't like it. I think that the headlights are 10% too big.
10%.
10%
What's
too
a
big.
ridiculous percentage to have a problem with?
I did the calculation.
I would hate to serve you Parmesan at a restaurant. It's never going to be the right amount.
You mean Parmesan?
What did I Parmesan?
Yeah, Parmesan.
What is happening?
I don't know.
All right, we're from two different countries. Anyway, this has the Z51 package, or for the Americans, Z51.
Yes, it's on the brake caliper.
Yeah, it's on the brake caliper. We've got bigger brakes, bigger rotors. We've got the Michelin PS4Ss. But the biggest tell about a Z51, if you see it at the traffic light, is the spoiler. Yeah,
Yep.
that's the Z51 spoiler.
Very cool. I think it looks good. It actually lowers the top speed though.
Yeah, and the fact that you can see the engine through the back.
Oh, yeah,
That's pure
obviously.
supercar, although you can't on the normal convertible option.
Obviously you need this one because you need to be able to see the engine.
Yeah, it's
That's
a beautiful
very cool.
V8. And this has the engine appearance package as well, so it's even more beautiful.
Let's look at the interior. Okay. This is a very cool cockpit.
It's, yeah, for you,
Yeah.
this is a real FU to the
You don't
passenger.
matter. Okay, so the
Yeah.
reason for this all completely being centered around here, and the reason this is like this massive center console, I spoke about this already, it's because all the stiffness from the car comes from this center transmission tunnel. So you've got this giant thing here, which is cool looking, except I find that just because of its position, when I put the steering wheel in a position that makes sense for me,
Yeah.
I can't get it high enough to not hit my elbow on this when
Well,
I'm
the
in a
steering
driving
wheel is
position.
already a point that people are upset about.
I don't like it.
Really? I think
I
it
would
looks
go
so
with
cool.
a round steering wheel. Like
I'm feeling the two spokes these days.
Okay, the two spokes is cool. I just don't like the square. Like the square is obviously there so you can see the gauge cluster
Sporting.
clearly, but like I just it doesn't. I don't know. It
I
doesn't,
can't believe how much
it's
this
sporting.
deprioritized sporting.
Yeah.
Sporting.
This is You're kind of over there. You barely
My
matter.
own little cockpit. I feel, you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm in the side cart of a motorbike and side cart thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like the little dog with the goggles.
Yeah. But the gauge cluster is really nice.
Very clean.
Right?
Yeah, and this actually has an amazing rear view camera. Although this still suffers from having this, so the visibility is not good, and this has the digital rear view mirror.
Okay.
And I still can't get used to that.
No, you can't because I realized what the reason was is because when you're looking out, you're actually focusing at a distance, and when you look in a normal rearview mirror,
Yeah.
you're focusing at the same distance in the mirror.
I'm not big
This
on
you
it.
have to adjust your eye. I don't like it.
It makes me feel sick.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But remember, this is fully optioned out. So this is the 3LT.
3LT,
So with the
yeah.
3LT, we get the seats that are an option on the 2LT. These GT2 seats, which are incredibly comfortable.
They creak though.
They're pretty-
I've noticed some creaking.
It's sporting.
Sporting.
Yeah. And then we've got the stitched leather everywhere. And this
Yes.
is like, you're in a GM product. Put your hands here. This is a wonderful leather.
It honestly is. Like
Yeah.
they did a really good job. It feels like they didn't skimp on the parts. You got the Alcantara on the A pillars.
Yeah, we've got the
here.
carbon fiber, but that's another option on top of the 3LT.
Oh, really?
But it looks great around the gauge cluster. And finally, in a GM product, we have an infotainment screen that's actually facing you.
Oh yeah, because in the Camaro it's on a slant this way,
And in the Cadillac,
and the Cadillac
it's
is
the
on a
other way.
slant this way.
Finally,
it's
this faces
in the
you.
correct spot.
They've learned.
Yeah,
And then-
you don't matter. You can't use this.
No, I'm not important in this vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this also has the most powerful Bose sound system in any car ever,
The Performance series.
which really looks good. And
Yeah.
on here, it has the actual Corvette symbol. Depending on which direction you look at it
Oh,
from,
really?
you can see it in. So it feels bespoke.
Oh, cool.
It feels special. and then we've got
Bespoke. You just love that word.
bespoke.
Yeah.
And then we've got wireless charging and other stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I really think it feels very supercar in here.
It definitely does. There's a slight intimidation factor to kind of where I'm sitting. Like everything feels like you're like, oh Jesus, but you kind of do get used to it.
And it's got that rake in the windscreen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it feels, it's not a Lambo.
No, but honestly, compared to old Corvettes, and even just going back 2 generations,
Yeah.
in Corvette, it's laughable compared to this.
No, this is
This is
an
on a
amazing job.
completely
Which is
new
good
level.
because actually, if you look at C1s or C2s now,
Yes.
they're stunning.
They are.
And
yeah.
then they kind of went a weird
And
way.
then when yeah,
Yeah,
the 90s
this feels
happened.
quality again.
Yeah, it does.
But again, 3LT. If you want to track this, the 1LT is going to be where you're at.
Yes. All right, should we do a conclusion on the road?
Let's do it.
Okay. It's good noise. What do I think about the C8 Corvette? I think that it is a fantastic car. It is a well-designed, very precise, amazing riding, beautiful-looking vehicle. I think when it comes to really driving it hard, though, it's kind of missing a few things. For one, there's an understeer problem, and I don't know if there's some more calibration that needs to happen, but it's just not quite there.
Okay. My final thoughts on this car. It moves. It looks fantastic. You know, people have been questioning, is it a Corvette? Is it a true Corvette? To me, as an Englishman who came over here for holiday once every 3 years, a Corvette was the thing that you mistook for a Ferrari or a supercar. And that actually when you honked on it, it still had crazy levels of performance. So in that sense, this absolutely is a Corvette. And since I've moved to North America and driven Corvettes, I understand they've always had a limitation, and this has its limitations. That understeer is significant. And the fact that what Thomas said is right, that it's mid-engined, and when you're in a car like this, you're used to feeling some crazy engine that goes with it. It's not paired with that in Stingray form.
So then, maybe for the Stingray, a comfortable lower trim cruiser is the way to go, and then put all the fancy stuff if you're gonna really spec out a Z06 when it's available. But I think for just a car that makes you feel special, looks fantastic, is really comfortable for long distances, this accomplishes all of those things perfectly, which makes it a Corvette, I think.
But in its current form, this is just missing something about its character. Its tie is tied on just a little bit too tight. Its handkerchief is too perfectly folded. It needs a bit more of a wild card.
Okay, to win your own C8 Corvette with the Z51 package and $20,000, go to amaze.com/throttlehouse and enter. And the best part is, not only do you have a chance to win the car, your donation goes to a good cause. In this case, it's the UCLA Medical Center. It's easy. Go there, donate, help a good cause, and maybe win a car. Good luck.